Hey, I'm Bob. I've been blind since birth and I'm into scary stories. Oh, yes. We're on part 5 of my tribute to terror vlogish video series. It is October 5th as you're watching this, talking about scary stories, scary movies, things that have put a good scare into all of us over the years.
This
Uh,
video is sponsored by the sewers of Derry, Maine.
oh, God.
Because when you're down here with us, you'll float too. Oh, I gotta stop doing these weird YouTube ads.
Yeah, might wanna. You might wanna, buddy. So we're talking about the Dark Tower series today. Forgive the random audio Zoom YouTube ad thing that just popped up there. I don't know what that was about. So the Dark Tower series, I wasn't sure I'd like it when I first heard of it. I had exhausted the Stephen King selection out there on the audiobook mainstream market in the 90s. It was 98, summertime. I was in a Davis Kid, cooling off, looking around at audiobooks with my grandma. And I mean, I'd read everything. I'd read The Green Mile, I'd read Needful Things, Desperation, Regulators, Rose Matter. There weren't a lot of titles older than the ones Stephen King had written in like 91 or 90 or so. It wasn't available. The Stand, the complete and uncut edition, that hadn't come out. But I mean, this was the 90s and audio cassettes took up a ton of room, and books like It and The Stand were just immense. So maybe the audio cassette versions would have been as big as a coffee table. I don't know. And we'd gotten to the Dark Tower. I'd reached the tower. It was the last couple books I hadn't read. And she was reading me the back of book 1, and I heard the word gunslinger, and I zoned out. I was thinking, oh, is this going to be about a guy who's running around picking fights and drinking all the time? And I wasn't sure what I was in for. I imagine some guy who talk like this all the time. Hey, you gonna come over here? I'm gonna bounty hunt you and all that and this, that, t'other. But Roland was the furthest thing from a tough bounty hunting cowboy. I mean, he was plenty tough, but we got the book home, and I pressed the play button, and I start reading about the last of a series of knights. Roland is the last of a group of warriors, and his mission is to save all of existence. And he's trying to stop a maniacal force from bringing down the Dark Tower, the linchpin of all of existence. So it was certainly a fantastic first book of the series. I remember I'd finished it on July 4th, maybe July 5th, and I immediately added books 2 through 4 to my little birthday list I was making. I don't know if I made that in Braille or not. Probably not. But I got the other 3 books 2 through 4 for my birthday around July 27th. And I finished those before school was back in session by sometime in mid-August. I mean, it was just, it had everything you could want. If you were into sci-fi, it had a lot of sci-fi elements. If you liked horror, there were quite a few horror scenes. If you liked romance, there was some of that. There was fantasy. There was world hopping. It was Stephen King at his finest, I think. And I don't know why I thought I wouldn't like the first 4 books at all. I was hooked. And when I got to book 3 and discovered this story was crossing over with a certain 4-part movie miniseries that I just watched on TV, I got really excited. There's a certain character that shows up from The Stand. I'm not going to say any more, but if you guys haven't read this thing, and I'm sure a lot of folks probably have it, but if you haven't, yeah, you could check it out on Audible. You could check it out on Kindle if you have one of those. I'm sure you can still get them in paperbacks and hardbacks too. And it's now an 8-book series. It used to be 7, but we got a book 4.5 taking place between, well, books 4 and 5. So now it's an 8-book series. How cool is that? And I haven't seen the movie that was released based on the books that came out in like 2017. I would watch it, but I know there's never going to be a sequel, and that would make me really sad. So, but I think Elba, who they got to play Roland of Gilead, he sounds amazing from what I've heard in the trailer. And I mean, this movie has a descriptive audio narration track, so it's begging for me to give it a watch. I really should. So yeah, if you like horror and sci-fi and fantasy and romance, give the book series a go. And I wanted to dedicate the video to the late great Frank Muller, the guy who narrated the first 4 books. Frank did one heck of a job coming up with the voices for Roland and his little quartet that he traveled with. And I think George Guidall, who took over after Frank was in a motorcycle accident and could no longer narrate, I think George Guidall also did a wonderful job on the last 3 books. I think both of them did. And man, I wish they would get around to adapting the Gunslinger Born prequel comic series to some kind of full cast audio adaptation on Audible. 'Cause they're doing that with Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. Stephen King's son, Joe, wrote an amazing graphic novel series called Lock and Key. That's got a dramatic audio full cast adaptation. It is high time that the Gunslinger Born, all of those comic books got one as well. I've been chomping at the bit for one of those for quite a few years now. Anyway, that's the only nitpicky thing I have to say, and it's not nitpicky at all. It would be amazing to be able to see what led up to Roland casting out and looking for the tower. So yeah, fun series. So next time we'll be talking about Nightmares, Poems to Trouble Your Sleep. Poems to Trouble Your Sleep by Jack Prelutsky. So be here for that. I think the Insidious Clown promoting Derry's sewers kind of got to me. So I'm going to post this thing and not go use the bathroom for like ever. Okay, I'll hear you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.